Hi, I'm Jim Knotts, President and CEO of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund. Welcome to today's virtual reading of the names. 2022 marks the 40th anniversary of the dedication of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. As part of our commemoration, we'll host an in-person reading of the names at the wall from November 7th through 10th, 2022, when all 58,281 names on the wall will be read aloud. In the lead up to that event, we'll be reading names each day online while sharing the photos of these heroes. For our daily virtual reading, the names of the service members will be read by month and day of death between the years 1956 and 1975 in alphabetical order for the given day. We apologize in advance for any mispronunciations. Know that our readers are doing their best to honor these service members. We hope you'll listen and watch each day and share with others as we remember and honor those who gave their lives during the Vietnam War.
Gerald Oak Alfred Jr., Dennis William Anderson, Atwell Asbel Armstrong, Charles Paul Avio, Cephas Barnes Jr., Edward Ray Basham, Joseph Frank Beanick, Ludden Bermudez Quinones, Jerry W. Brannick, Stephen Parker Broderick, Vito Vincent Bruno, Herman Dale Buchanan, Paul Randolphi Byrne, Arthur Boyd Clark, Randy Lee Clifton, Charles Eugene Kaufman. Stephen Grant, Connor George Thomas Connolly, Juan Cortez Castillo, Alfred Joseph Sertelli, Robert Walter Cromwell, Larry Ray Demeron, William DeWitt Davis, Thomas Gled DeTamble, Howard Jacob DeWall, Timothy Morgan Dick, Elmer William Dickens, David Downing Dickerson, Robert Thomas Dowdy, Lawrence George Ans, John William Ernesty, Dennis Eugene Edge. Robert Dean Farrington, Robert Charles Felter, Alan Eugene Follett, Gary Lee Falls, John Charles Frepon, Martin Charles Fritz, Russell Dale Galbraith, Phillips Gallagher III, David Ernest Gardner, Billy Lee Goins, Samuel Gray, Willie Lee Hall Jr., Dennis Harper Jr., Seaford Nathan Hemmings, Raymond Howard Hiley, William Omer Hill. Gerald Curtis Hogue, Robert Milvoy Horsky, William Joseph Horrigan, Jake Edward Hurst, Roberto Itari, Isidore Jenkins, Robert Edward Jones, Wayne Huffman Kidd, John Edward King, Michael Charles Kirby, Alvin Edward Kurtz, Robert Edgar Lackey, Stephen Douglas Langler, John E. Lawler Jr., Donald Lamar Lee, Melvin Dennis Lembeck.
Charles Hugh Lewis Jr., Andre Limon, Gordon Joseph Lippman, John Clarence Liverman, Daniel John McGuire, Dennis Carroll Manning, Thomas Robert Marshall, Wenceslo Rojas Matias Jr., Thomas Andrew May, Larry Earl McClung, Michael Ray McCummins, Henry McDonald, George Parker McKnight, Charles Anton McMasters, Peter T. Milan, George Mercado, Elijah Miles Jr., Tommy Lee Mooney, Douglas Isaac Moyer, Ronald Anthony Ozinski, Jimmy Ralph Patrick, John Paul Paulson Jr., Robert Glenn Penley, Michael James Petrashun, Freddie Joe Pfeiffer, Raymond Richard Paceno Jr., John Pizzuti, Jimmy Clyde Poe, Alexander Posman Jr., Kenneth Lee Pugh, Eugene P. Richardson Jr., James G. Riley, Ralph Edward Roach, Jerry Marco Roberts, Guillermo Rodriguez, Ronald M. Romero, Leroy Henry Romig, Augustin Rosario, Ernie Wayne Rosser, Herman Francis Rubin, Charles E. Russell III, Thomas Clayton Rudder, Vincent Ralph Salemi, Mercedes Perez Salinas, Paul Edward Schmidt, Bobby Jean Simpson, James Henry Smith, Antonio Abel Solis, Ronald Anthony Spudis, Benny Arnold Starr, Dennis Michael Stevens, Donald David Stewart, Timothy David Stickle, William James Sugden, Bernard Leroy Swiger, Leonard Macion Tedios, Robert Teasley, Daniel Tilley, Gregorio Trevino Jr., Donald Keith Vatican, Eugene Walters, Roy Julian Weatherford Jr., James Only Weaver, Joshua Welch Jr., Howard Cecil West, John Edward Wiedner, Frank Duval Williams, Dennis Melvin Wood, James Woodward.